I've got a message for the modern left. If you drift too far from the principles that once made you the vanguard of progress, you risk bleeding away your sharpest thinkers. And nowhere is that reality flashing in neon lights more than in what you're about to witness. Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks just unleashed an absolute scorcher over New York's prison and bail reform fiasco. One that's exploding right in Governor Kathy Hochul's face. Buckle up and watch this fiery rant. Then stick around for the inside scoop on what's really at play here.
On Long Island, where body parts were found all over Long Island, they had 4 suspects. They let them go, and now they're out there still. So what is the deal here? It sounds insane to me.
Though the crime that was brought was not what was bail eligible.
So you can't hold them?
Not on the charges he brought. But those are low-level charges. They really weren't. And we can work to make those bail eligible in the next session.
Dismembering a corpse and hiding a corpse after dismembering it. Not bail eligible. Not a serious crime. Listen, if being on the left means supporting this, then I'm not on the left, and I'm okay with it.
Anna Kasparian is usually the cool head on the TYT panel, but when she lights up like this, and at her own political tribe, no less, you know, the alarm bells are ringing. New York has quietly turned itself into a grand social experiment for progressive policies, and the results are, well, let's just say not exactly postcard material. On one hand, you've got rising energy costs thanks to the phase out of cheap non-renewables and looming cuts to police budgets. But the real powder keg, the revolving door of dangerous offenders strolling back onto the streets courtesy of gaping holes in the state's bail reform. Here's the kicker. It's not even the idea of bail reform itself. It's the botched rollout. Judges' hands are tied because the law literally bars them from considering whether someone poses a danger to the public. They can weigh flight risk, sure, but public safety off the table. The outcome is as predictable as it is dangerous, and even voices on the left, like Kasparian, can see the writing on the wall. This is a political time bomb for Democrats and Governor Kathy Hochul.
What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing, Cenk? What are we doing? What are we doing? Someone tell me, what the F are we doing?
Yeah, look, no one signed up for this.
Come at me right now and tell me I'm the bad guy because I want these people who dismembered corpses and tried to conceal the evidence in prison. Come at me and tell me I'm the bad guy. Come at me.
Look, guys.
Insane. You guys are insane. Anyone who thinks this is okay is insane. And everyone else in New York has to suffer the consequences of this with random bag checks at the subway by National Guard troops.
To be fair to Anna, she's not throwing shade at the entire left-wing case for eliminating cash bail. California's got a version of it too, and she's not exactly leading protests outside Sacramento. But New York, that's a whole different horror show thanks to one fatal loophole that Governor Kathy Hochul doesn't even pretend to be sorry for. The state set bail eligibility only for a narrow list of violent crimes, which sounds just as deranged as it is. By writing the law so explicitly and narrowly, it leaves gaping holes for crimes that might not be legally labeled violent, but are screaming red flags for violent criminality. Take, for instance, the jaw-dropping case Joy Bahar highlighted just last month. 4 suspects in Suffolk County were busted hiding dismembered bodies in their home. Now, any sane person would call that violent, but legally it's obstruction of justice, not a violent crime. Since it wasn't yet proven who actually killed those victims, the 4 suspects were released with a few conditions under New York's bail reform. Read that again. People caught with human body parts walked free. And what's Governor Hochul's response? Radio silence and zero accountability. Suddenly, Anna Kasparian's fury doesn't just make sense, it feels inevitable.
Time where we have the right wing, which has lost its mind. You're taking good people that would normally be on the left and driving them to the right wing with this madness. And no one agreed to it. I don't mean the voters, I mean on the left. When did we have a vote? When did we decide in a primary or a ballot measure that we should do any of this? I never once heard it at any progressive get together, any progressive, no one has ever proposed this. All of a sudden in 2019, these activists popped up in all these cities and they're like, okay, you know what, like.
How did they succeed? I wanna know.
They got massive funding.
Whether TYT wants to admit it or not, Cenk's point couldn't be clearer. And it's sitting right beside him, Anna Kasparian. In just a matter of months, she's become a lightning rod for a new strain of progressive leftists, the kind she hardly even recognizes. She hasn't swung to the right, but it's obvious she's grown disillusioned with the version of the left she once defended with fire. Case in point, early last year, Anna dropped what most people would see as a common sense take on the gender language debate. The reaction, pure detonation. Her tweet read, "I am a woman. Please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus, birthing person, or someone who menstruates." How do people not realize how degrading that is? You can support the transgender community without doing this. Hardly transphobic, yet the pylon was immediate, with influencers rushing in to brand her as the enemy instead of caving. Anna hit back with another post. LOL, the meltdown over wanting to be referred to as a woman rather than a birthing person is pretty wild. I'll never apologize for that, especially as a biological woman who has had a lifetime being told that I am less than. I am a woman. No apologies. Imagine the whiplash. After years spent fighting for social justice, suddenly the very movement you've championed turns on you for daring to color outside the ideological lines. That's the moment Anna felt the ground give way. The rug pulled out from under her by the people she thought were her allies. And that's why one question keeps lingering in the air. Has Anna Kasparian actually left the left?
I'm in the same place. I have the same audience. The audience doesn't like some of what I have to say or some of the new conclusions I've come to. And so I wanted to kind of set the record straight about what I have personally experienced. I don't know what my political labels are at this point, right? Because I feel like I don't really fit anywhere. And that's just full honesty. It's, again, very uncomfortable for me. And I want to say that out of any point in my adult life, this is probably the point where I'm the most malleable and open to new information because of what I've experienced over the last few years.
If I had to bet, I don't think Anna's really migrated to the right. It's more that the left has lurched so far out that she's not willing to follow it into the deep end. We've seen this movie before with another former TYT figure, Dave Rubin. When he finally broke with the left and announced he was done identifying with it, Anna herself blasted him, never quite grasping why he walked away from the political home he once defended. But here's the twist. Anna's own journey now has her wrestling with questions she never thought she'd ask as a dyed-in-the-wool progressive. She stated she doesn't know what her political label is anymore because she feels she doesn't really fit anywhere. Yet it's this very feeling of being unmed that has made her more malleable and open to new information, demonstrating a rare intellectual bravery. And honestly, that's not a sign of betrayal. It's a sign of growth. The willingness to challenge your own tribe, to rethink convictions you once treated as immovable, is proof of intellectual humility. More than that, it's courage. And it's the kind of courage most of us could stand to learn from. This is what happens when you prioritize principles over political labels. You find yourself in a constant search for truth, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. It's the journey of a true independent thinker. But what do you think? Have we reached a point where political tribes have become so rigid that they push away their most honest and thoughtful members? Or is this just a natural part of a constantly evolving political landscape? Let me know in the comments below.